So today I decided to make a kind of tutorial, kind of just tips and tricks video on how to get either pastel hair, silver hair, white hair, or just to kind of lighten your hair in any way without damaging it practically at all. Because clearly I have purpley hair, even if it doesn't look particularly pastel today because I reapplied the dye quite heavily quite recently. Because when I decided that I wanted to dye my hair this colour, I did a hell of a lot of research into how exactly I could do it to minimise the damage, to get the best colour, and seeing as I watched about 1 billion videos on how to get pastel, silver, whatever hair, the tip that I found that really saved my hair, I didn't find in any videos mentioned at all. So I wanted to make a video and share that with anybody who is thinking about doing this for their hair, or just lightening it in any way. Now before I get on to the main part of the video, which is my little miracle saviour for hair, I decided to just do some tips and tricks for before you bleach your hair and dye it, and after you bleach your hair and dye it. Okay, so step 1 in my tips for not murdering your hair if you decide to make it pastel, silver, white, whatever, is optional, and it is pre-lightening your hair. So when I decided about the start of December last year that I wanted to dye my hair pastel purple, I knew I had about 6 months to wait out before I'd be able to, because at my school, and many others, you're not allowed any kind of unnatural hair colour. I mean, we want you to be an individual and to embrace that, but not if it means you don't look exactly like everybody else, even if that has absolutely no bearing on how well you achieve as a student. This is an optional step because although it definitely did mean that I had to bleach my hair less and it was less damaged, it's not really the main aspect of minimising the damage to your hair when you bleach it. And I mainly just did it because I had 6 months of school to wait out. If you want to get your hair pastel purple as soon as possible, this isn't going to have a massive impact. So, as I said, I did a hell of a lot of research on how to minimise the damage to my hair and get the best colour before I bleached it. But incredibly, it wasn't until about a week before I was supposed to have my hair bleached that I found this little nuggety gem of information on a forum. I think there's a hair dye forum? Yeah, www.hairdyeforum.com, which was the idea of putting coconut oil on your hair before you bleach it. Now I was a bit like, what about this before, but I have researched it so much, and you can as well if you don't believe me, and seriously it works. Even my hairdresser hadn't heard of this before. Mum texted to ask her if I could put coconut oil on my hair before she bleached it. She was like, no, you can do it afterwards, but that's not going to work because the oil will stop the hair uptaking the bleach. That actually seriously didn't happen, because in the end I was like, no, I really want to try it, and she just said, on your head be it, basically. And it worked, and I was so happy and so smug. But yeah, this is a science behind it. Apparently, coconut oil is a natural chelating agent which chelates the damaging iron and copper produced by the chemical reaction that happens when you use peroxide on your hair, and that is what causes your hair to get dried out and damaged and break when you bleach it. So what you want to do with the coconut oil is about an hour before you want to have it bleached, or at least an hour, as long as you can before you're having it bleached, is get about, you have to blag it a little bit depending on how long and how thick your hair is, but you can just add more, so it's fine. I reckon I use about 3 tablespoons all in all of this, stick it in a bowl, put it in a microwave for about 30 seconds and stir it. It will melt super easily. You can melt it about a teaspoon at a time in your hands in a few seconds if you don't have a microwave or any other way to heat it. And then you completely coat your hair in it and just leave it on there to sit, and you leave it on through the bleaching, and it just works wonders. I mean, you are going to look like a total grease ball for a little while. I had to walk all the way through town looking like I hadn't washed my hair in about 5 years to the hairdressers, but it was okay because it was worth it. Also, as my hairdresser pointed out, there are some proper weirdos here, so I didn't look that strange. Tip number 2, when it comes to bleaching, I'm not keeping count of these, I don't know what number I'm on, is don't wash your hair for a few days before. Now, unlike the coconut thing, I think most people know this, but the fact is it just means that your scalp is much more protected from the bleach. First time I bleached my hair, I just put highlights through the top and full bleach on the bottom because I had it ombre, so I didn't even feel the bleach. But the second time I decided to go for all over bleach for an hour and my head was burning, even though I hadn't washed it for a couple of days before that. So yeah, just nice and greasy. It's better. Speaking of the fact that I bleached my hair 2 separate times, my last tip is, if you're going to bleach your hair, do it all in one go, because as my hairdresser said to me, the bleach took a lot more at my roots the second time I bleached it, because once you've bleached your hair once, it is much more reluctant to take up the bleaching again because it's damaged. Just learn from taking it last time, whereas virgin hair will take up bleach really, really easily. And so you're going to end up with a lot less damage overall if you bleach it all in one. When it comes to actually dyeing your hair, if you're going to have it silver or white, then you need to use some kind of toner on it. Now when I go back to school, again, I'm not going to be allowed to have purple hair, so I'm planning to tone it to silver after removing this. Now a good tip if you have dye in your hair is to get it out, apparently using Head & Shoulders anti-dandruff shampoo. Now, I didn't think this would work. I was like, it's just regular shampoo, isn't it, to my hairdresser? But no, apparently. She said, seriously, only use that shampoo if you have properly bad dandruff, because that stuff is strong enough chemically that you can physically perm someone's hair with it, which is a process more damaging than bleaching. So when it comes to dyeing, you need to decide if you want to dye your hair semi-permanently, which is what I've done, or if you want to dye your hair permanently. Now if you dye your hair permanently, clearly you can't really go back on that without loads more bleach, by which point your hair will probably be dead regardless of what you use on it. So only do that if you know definitely what colour you want and what shade you want, and you're not going to have to change it anytime soon. For everyone else, which seems to be most people who dye their hair weird colours because we don't tend to stick with things very long, I would recommend using semi-permanent dyes. Like these are the 2 that I use, which are Directions, but I'm sure there's other brands that you can use which are just as good. But these are very, very good and also vegan friendly. They're great because you can mix them together, so I mix mostly violet with a little bit of cerise. If you want a lighter pastel colour, then you're going to want to mix these dyes with conditioner to get the right shade. Just remember though, when you do this, that it will come out lighter on your hair than it looks in the pot. And also if your hair is not perfectly white before, the lighter you put it on, the more bits of like yellowy, brassy tones you're going to see in your hair. These dyes are also pretty cheap. Apparently they're regularly £5.95. That's in UK poundy money. But I get them from a, what do they call them? Outlet. I get them from an outlet beauty place, and they are £3.99 there constantly. So if you're wanting silver or white hair, then you're going to be wanting to use a toner, because regardless of how much you bleach it, you'll probably have some brassy tones left. The same brand that do those dyes also have a silver and white toner. Or you can also again use the Ash High Lift dye, which is what I'm planning to use, because when I go back to school, yet again I'm going to have a natural hair colour. And I'm going to try and get away with silver as a natural hair. So lastly, I thought I'd just do some tips on maintenance and upkeep of this kind of hair colour, because these are just generally regular hair care tips, but they become a lot more important and something you have to think about a lot more once you've put something as damaging as bleach on your hair. Now I've had bleach on my hair for about 3 hours in total now. I had it for 2 hours the first time and 1 for the second time. And my hair is still in very good condition, mostly because of using coconut oil on it. I mean, it's not really frizzy or damaged. I mean, a lot of people when they've bleached their hair, they can literally just pull on the ends and it will snap off, and that is not breaking no matter how hard I pull on it. First tip is to stick a little bit of the dye, if you've dyed your hair pastel, into your regular conditioner. Then you can reapply it a bit every time you dye your hair, because believe me, this stuff fades out very, very quickly. And certainly when I had my hair ombre, it was very, very hard to reapply it as well at home as my hairdresser did it. So that just kind of helped to top it up a little bit in between me getting it done properly. Tip number 2, which is really, really important, is try and really minimise how much heat you use on your hair. Because regardless of the fact that it's a lot less damage because of coconut oil, bleached hair, because you've opened up the hair follicles, is a lot more likely to get humid and to get frizzy when it's humid or exposed to heat. And it's also still slightly more likely to get heat damage. My hair hates heat in general, so I have just completely stopped using heat on it apart from on my fringe. because I need to straighten that slightly. But if you desperately want to make your hair straighter or to still blow dry it, then I would recommend doing it on the cold setting of a hairdryer or the coldest setting you have. It's going to take longer, particularly seeing as when you've bleached your hair it holds water longer, so it'll take longer to dry anyway, but it's really worth it. Also, because bleached hair is more prone to get frizzy and slightly more prone to get damaged, I would recommend you use a wide tooth comb when you're brushing your hair, particularly after you've washed it, because when it's wet it probably is prone to damage, just like any regular hair. Also, apparently Tangle Teezers are very good for this. I haven't got one myself, but I'm intending to get one soon. And just be really gentle with your hair when you're brushing it, because it will be a hell of a lot better with coconut oil, but it's still probably slightly more prone to snap. Last tip is find a shampoo and conditioner that's good for your hair. This doesn't have to be an expensive thing. My personal favourites are these Alberto Balsam shampoo and conditioner. I get these from like Home Bargains for about £1, or they're about £1.50 each in Wilko's. But they're just really, really good for my hair. I also mix my conditioner with this shampoo, and yeah, it just makes my hair really, really soft after I leave the dye on it with the conditioner for like 10-20 minutes. Yeah, also, they smell freaking amazing. They're coconut and lychee flavoured, and it's like my favourite smell on the planet at the minute. Talking of shampoo and conditioners, you can also use coconut oil again to apply it just like you did before the bleach and leave it on for an hour or so, and it works really well as a hair mask and it'll make your hair feel a lot more soft and healthy. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful for anybody that's planning to dye their pastel, silver, white, lighten it in any way. And if you're not, then thank you for sitting through this video. I hope it wasn't ridiculously long. And don't forget to like, subscribe and comment if you feel like it. It's fine. Goodbye.